Well, guys, we're almost there. We're on our last step. We're hemming our dress and it's done. I wanted to bring to note that I did something flip-flopped from the instructions. She hems the dress first and then does the slit. I did it the opposite way. I just want to encase that end in my hemline. So that's why I did that. So here is my last trick of the day. So the instructions say, it looks like a pin hem or a small rolled presser foot hem. If you have one of those, cool. I'm not gonna do that. I just can't master them. I'm just not good at it. So I'm gonna do what I'm a little bit better at, which is this. I am going to use my little trick for sewing circular hems. And that would be this. First of all, I'm actually gonna put some hem length on my dress. I measured it, what ended up having to be 35 inches, but it's so long that I wanna give it a nice, decent size hem. So what I'm gonna do first is put on my regular stitch length. It doesn't matter really how long it is. This doesn't matter. What this is going to do is create a precise fold line. I'm just trimming the ends of my, had a little off there, so I'd trim it. So what I'm doing, let's move you closer. So this is what I'm gonna do. I have my stitch on the first one, so I can utilize this measurement right here because I'm gonna use the edge of my presser foot as a guide. And that's about, I think that is standard 3/8 of an inch. And that is going to create my first fold. And this helps so much with circular sewing. You can get a more precise rounded hemline. And all I'm going to do for the first, this is all I'm doing. It doesn't matter if you backstitch, you can if you want to, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to go all the way around the skirt at this measurement and just create a single solid stitch line. Okay, we're back at the ironing board because our next step is this. I'm going to use my water bottle, just dampen that fabric a little bit so I can create some steam. And then what you're going to do is, let's make sure that I can get this in frame. You're going to take your fabric and fold it along that stitch line. It's going to make for a much more precise fold. And you're going to go all the way around your skirt doing this. It will not matter as you start going around curves if the fabric kind of goes like this. Can you see that? It's okay. It's going to be tucked inside. Don't worry about it. So go all the way around your skirt doing the pressing along your stitch line. Home stretch, you guys. Home stretch. Okay, let's go back to this 1-inch double stick fusible. This is going to give you that precise 1-inch hemline. I love this stuff, you guys. If there's one thing that I would highly invest in based on this sew along, it's the Madame Sew tool. I think it's called a hot hem press. I think that's right. Hot hem press from Madame Sew. And this 1-inch double-sided fusibles for knit. It's clear. I mean, the 1 inch is so great just because you can use so many different size options. And at the end of the day, you can still use the full 1 inch to do what we're doing, which is to create that perfect hem. So all we're going to do, I've already finished pressing that, let's call it like just the first roll. And it was, ended up being, for me, it was 3/8 of an inch. So I'm just going to line it up, not all the way to the edge of the fabric, just inside. We're talking like 1 millimeter because I just don't want it to peek out. So just go a little bit before the end of your hem, or of that first rolled piece. Then all I'm gonna do, I'm gonna iron it like we've been doing it all the way around, and then we take it to the machine, and then you're done. So let's do that. Okay. One thing I want to bring to your attention is We are dealing with a rounded skirt, but we're dealing with a straight edge. This is when you're going to have to, see right here, that is a big curve I need to get around. So all I've done is just trim this right here, and I'm just going to cut maybe an angle on my next little bit of tape and continue on. Just wanted to bring that up. So I wanted to show you that how many cuts I had to make, so as to not make someone feel bad. Look at all this in order to get the proper curve. Things like this will naturally kind of curve in anyway, so I'm not really worried about that being off. But my whole piece is not, my whole skirt is not one solid piece of this fusible. So I just wanted to encourage you, in case you're running into problems with the curves, don't get freaked out. It's just part of the process. One last thing, now's the time to go ahead and start taking that paper off, and we're going to fold over again. I'm probably going to be using this guy just to make sure that my measurements are good. And I know this is straight, but I'll probably use this smaller end to use for the curves that I need to work into it. So that's what I'm doing next. Alrighty, I have pressed my 1-inch hem allowance, and I'm taking it to my machine. I'm going to be sewing from the right side of the fabric, and you know, I thought about whether I should do a finishing stitch and elongating my stitch length, but remember I was having bubbling issues in the when we were doing the bodice with that longer stitch length, and I'm thinking that's not a great idea. So I am going to put my stitch length back to 2. That was just a fleeting thought. I'm not going to do that because it's laying much better with the 2 millimeter stitch length. So all I'm doing is putting it to the machine, setting it to 1 inch. Of course, you don't, the 1 inch measurement on your plate, you're not going to stitch all the way at the other end. It's going to be just inside, so you catch the edge. And if your hemline isn't perfect, you might want to consider moving your needle over maybe 1 millimeter or 2. It's not going to be so far up, but you'll still get your dress hemmed, if that makes sense. So sewing the hem, last step.